Welcome to this episode of our program Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important file. Today we'll be speaking about the youth empowerment file. And during the past 8 years, the Egyptian state made strides in youth empowerment to help youth thrive in tomorrow's future. In light of the presidential directives that give this file a very importance or a top priority. When youth are empowered, we are having a great number of youth. We're speaking about more than 60% of our population are youth. When they are empowered, they have the skills, the critical awareness, the opportunities to positively impact their own lives and the lives of other individuals, organizations, and their own communities at large. The president has renewed confidence earlier this year in the Egyptian youth, along with their enthusiasm and determination, considering them half of the present and all of the future. So said the president, which reflects the keenness of the leadership on the future of youth and on preparing them for the future. Now, thanks to the numerous presidential initiatives and programs targeting youth empowerment, we can say that Egyptian youth have managed to change the landscape of the best sectors with their genuine zeal and broad vision towards the future. This exactly what we are going to speak about tonight with our dear guest, Mr. Mohamed, Anwer, International Relations and Conference Coordinator, member of the PLP program, and a member of the organizing committee of the World Youth Forum. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and the Daily Debate in the great Egyptian television, and a nice introduction, by the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And before we delve into our discussion, let's first have a look on the top story of the day. And under the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the implementation of the additional social protection package cash support began on Thursday under the umbrella of the Solidarity and Dignity or Takaful wa Karama cash support program for the month of September to the beneficiaries, including NISA bank card holders and holders of the smart cards that are disbursed from offices of the National Post Authority, after increasing the number of beneficiaries by 1 million additional families in coordination with the National Alliance for Civil and Development Action, bringing the number of beneficiaries of the Solidarity and Dignity program to 5.1 million families. As of today, Thursday, September 15th, the beneficiaries of the cash support program, Takaful and Karama, began to withdraw through all the bank's ATMs spread throughout the country. They can also be, or they will also be able to do all the electronic payments and governmental transactions and purchases. They also began to withdraw the money from all the post offices. The Ministry of Social Solidarity began distributing NISA smart cards to new beneficiaries of the cash support program, Takaful and Karama, at the beginning of this month through the distribution companies who delivered them to their homes to facilitate the receiving process for all the families as part of the ministry's strategy that aims at relieving the citizens so that he can obtain this service properly and fastly. The Ministry of Social Solidarity formed a joint operation room with the Egyptian Postal Authority to follow up the process of disbursing aid through the Solidarity and Dignity program, and decided that the disbursement would take place throughout the whole month to the beneficiaries of any post office across the country, worth noting that the volume of funding for the Solidarity and Karama program reached 19 billion pounds during the past year, when it reached 22 billion pounds last April, which with rather an increase in the number of 450,000 families. The beneficiaries will receive 1 million additional families in coordination with the National Alliance for Civil and Development Action out of Egypt's keenness to meet the citizens' needs and to invest in the human calibers with a future vision to reduce dropouts from education, improve health, reduce early marriage, and many social negative phenomena that hinders development efforts. And back to our topic of the day. And before we delve into our discussion, let me first state this report. And President Sisi calls for dedicating year 2023 for the Arab youth. Let's watch.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi suggested dedicating the year 2023 for the Arab youth, during which activities would be organized alternately between various Arab capitals throughout the year. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassam Radi said that President al-Sisi called for examining the possibility of establishing a union for Arab youth to act as a bridge and a platform that contributes to maximizing interaction among the Arab youth to get acquainted with the common factors as well as the cultural specificities of each country. These came during a meeting with the Arab ministers of youth and sports on the sidelines of the 45th session of their council in Cairo in the presence of Minister of Youth and Sports Ashraf Subhi. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi affirmed that the youth sector represents a fundamental dimension of country's national security, and there is a great importance for developing the youth's understanding and awareness so as to enhance stability, security, and peace as a main objective and to provide factors of progress and success. The President also stressed the importance of the engagement of the Arab youth in digital transformation, programming, and rapid technological progress, which impact the future of job opportunities, and hence the importance to assist young people to keep pace with developments in this field. The President referred to the modern technological universities recently established for this purpose in Egypt. President el-Sisi stressed that the energy of the youth is a great potential on which joint Arab capabilities must capitalize in order to protect Arab youth from extremist ideologies and to prevent instilling any destructive or false ideas in them, which would threaten states' capabilities and entity. The head of state engaged with the ministers in an open dialogue to exchange views on the various Arab experiences in youth work and how to benefit from those experiences in supporting youth dialogue and providing consultation among youth community cadres in the Arab world to crystallize visions by the youth to address the challenges they face. The Arab ministers lauded Egypt's interest under the leadership of the President in the fields of youth and sports, especially by adopting many interactive initiatives with youth and holding national, regional, and international events and conferences in this regard, demonstrating the pivotal role of youth in Egypt's national development strategy.
Right, welcome back. And before we start with our discussion, let me again welcome our guest, Mr. Mohamed Anwer, International Relations and Conference Coordinator, member of the PLP program and of the Organization Committee of the World Youth Forum. Thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And we're speaking today about youth.
Yes.
So let me ask you if this is, or if we have already started to see the fruits,
Yes.
for the past year's efforts, and are we seeing real action in the main arterial institutions of the nation?
Yes, of course. Now let me start with the beginning of the story. And as I always reiterate that His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, stemming from his belief in the necessity of empowering young people, he started his first year of assuming the chair in Egypt with calling that year 2014, 2015, 2016 the years of young people. And starting in 2016, he launched the Great Presidential Leadership Program, which is the first presidential or that kind of program here in Egypt. The program aims at injecting the administrative system in Egypt with young people, with young ideas, with young initiatives. And after four initiatives or 4 rounds of the PLP, now we are with the end of the fourth level. Now you can see a lot of young people being injected into, yes, the administrative system of the country, of the system itself. Now you can see young people assuming chairs like governors, ministers, vice vice ministers, and so on. So you can see, yes, of course, we are now in the time of gaining the profits of training those young people and getting them into the most important posts here in Egypt to get the benefit and take advantage of their ideas and fresh minds, of course. This is happening.
Let me here ask you about actual representation.
Yes.
And actual representation of youth, of what we are seeing,
Yes.
confirms undoubtedly that empowerment has become true.
Yes, of course.
Not a slogan as they thought, or
course,
anybody thought.
Of course, it's not a slogan. You can see real actions on the ground, starting from the NTA, the National Training Academy, going into Haya Karima, or Decent Life Initiative, as you told us before, Takaful and Karama Initiative, and a lot. We have more than 20 initiatives.
Takaful and Karama is
Yes.
made for
Yes,
for the
but
beneficiaries
the
in
idea-
the
Yes.
but
But the
definitely
idea itself, the
yes.
idea itself is given by young people. We have a young...
Indeed.
Yes, of course.
I guess that these were some of the recommendations made through the
Yes.
World Youth
Yes,
Forum,
as I told you,
or
there are-
youth forums.
Yes, of course. So, who is the creator of the World Youth Forum? Only young people. Who is the creator of the Youth National Conferences, which discusses a lot of initiatives? Only young people. So we are in the time of gaining the profits of training those young people. We have more than 20 initiatives delivered into real ground actions by young people. So, for example, Haya Karima, Takaful and Karama, as you told us, developing the Egyptian family. We have, and most recently, by the way, issued by the Ministry of International Cooperation, Konsafirin initiative, be an ambassador of the SDGs, which also matches with the international vision of the presidency to train young people to be able to understand the international changes. We are now in the time of a big and tremendous international change. So training your young people to understand how to deal with the SDGs and to implement them into your personal life. This is very important. So the idea is that by a young man, and the implementation and the execution on the ground is by a young man as well. I think this is the best time for us.
I guess we'll raise this issue later on, because this is a very important matter, since
Yes.
we're speaking about the battle of awareness.
Yes,
And
of
the
course.
battle of awareness is not something to be said
course.
just in few words. Rather, we need to
Yes.
to
go
highlight
into
the
detail.
issue
Yes.
more. But before I go into that, here we're speaking about youth as important or essential components of the arterial institutions, particularly the parliaments.
Of course.
And we have seen in the Senate and
Yes, in the parliament.
parliament, we have seen lots of youth
One
who
third.
were elected or even selected.
Yes. Yes.
But the component of them in the parliamentary or the
Yes.
two chambers this time is enormous.
Yes, of course.
And definitely we're seeing them leading the issue of
Yes.
the national dialogue.
Yes, of course.
Please,
Um,
why is the keenness of the leadership to include youth in numbers? This is what I mean.
Yes, and this is the first time in our history to have that big number of young people into political process. 1/3 of the members of the two rooms, the parliament or the Senate itself, 1/3 of them are young people, and a lot of programs, ideas, initiatives, laws proposed and suggested resolutions are given by young people. And this is the source of the national dialogue that was launched by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. So if you have 1/3 of your highest constitutional body led by young people, a lot of young ideas will be put into action, especially the national dialogue, which is the most important case nowadays. We're going to solve a lot of maybe temporary problems. We're going to discuss a lot of talks, topics with those who couldn't discuss those topics with the president before. So
We're
this is
speaking
a
here about
first
the
time.
national dialogue.
Yes, of
The
course.
national dialogue
Yes.
is very important since
It's
we're
very
speaking
important.
about five axes, five very important axes:
Yes.
the political, the economic, the social,
Yes, of course.
and or I mean five within those
Yes,
three main
yes,
pillars.
of course.
And they are very or extremely important for making this balance in order
Of course.
for us to get together and see the future of our country together, or put it together.
Yes, of course.
If I may ask you here about the past years, and throughout the past years, we've seen the president keen, very keen, to open channels with the youth and speak
Yes.
with them directly,
Yes.
transparently, and answering their own questions, remarks, recommendations. How did you view that, and why was that important?
Well, look at words. We have an initiative. It's not an initiative. It's like a slogan by the president. It's called "Ask the President." So as if the whole Egyptian people are giving questions, are raising questions to the president, and the president himself, live, on a live streaming, is answering those questions frankly and without any censorship. Yes, I think.
Without any censorship.
Yes.
I mean,
You
those
can ask.
questions were not
We're not previously
selected
prepared.
and
No,
previously
no,
prepared.
no, of course.
Indeed.
You
Indeed.
can,
And that was very much obvious, by the way, because the questions
yes,
themselves
of course,
were...
from your home, you can send all your questions. Yes, I mean it, all your questions, whatever they are, to the platform of Ask the President, and the president in the next session will answer a lot of those questions. Yes, this is put into the ground, and this is the first president, by the way, to do this. I think, as I remember, this is the first president to do it, to answer frankly to questions and
The
live.
last time
The
we've
live, without
seen that
moderation.
was President Sadat at the Cairo University, but then it went...
It wasn't that neat and frank this time.
Yes.
And by the way, there was a question about what if I did not vote for the president? What if the president is not there? That question was raised live, and the president himself, in a funny way, answered the question. So you can answer the question. In what time in our history, in our modern history, we had that question live streamed to the people? No, this is the first time. Yes, of course, and I insist on it.
Yes.
Yes,
No.
of course.
You're right.
Yes.
Because the very frank questions that were raised were
Yes, of course.
sometimes stunning. I mean, and they were not expected, and
Yes,
the
of
president
course.
was keen to answer them.
Yes, of course, and in a time of
Even
open
those very
spaces,
aggressive questions.
it was
that were
aggressive.
raised.
It was an aggressive question, and it was frank, too frank to answer. And we are not used to that kind of questions,
Indeed.
so it's answered frankly.
But why? Why the president is so keen on that?
Because it's for the first time in our history, we have a president who can and who wants to listen to the people. He wants to listen to all our questions, and he wants and he insists on answering their questions. And this is very important. This is a very keen and a characteristic of the president's personality. He's a frank person. He is courageous. I think he is keen on doing this.
I guess that the main parts or the state was very keen on empowering youth on several sectors.
Yes.
We're speaking here about education,
Yep.
social programs,
Okay.
economic, political, psychological.
Yes.
All these sectors, definitely health, of course, in between, but
course.
the main were particularly education, political, and economic, plus working with the psychological issue, because
Yes.
Definitely youth of today have seen during
Yes,
the
of
past
course.
period, the past
in our
10 years.
in our open spaces with the spread of the social media, of course a lot of bad effects are there on the ground. So we need to check this. We need to talk to the people frankly. We need to check how they think, how they feel, and what they do on their daily life. I think the president is keen on this, and he calls for different initiatives to check how the young people, not only how the Egyptian people thinks, feels, how they do, and how they talk to each
Hopes.
other. Yes, yes, discussing their hopes, their aspirations, and so on. Yes, I think he's keen on this, and this is very important, and this is the only time necessary and suitable for this. Yes, we are in the middle of a turning point to discuss a lot of topics, subjects that we did not discuss before.
The Nasser Academy, the PLP,
Yes.
the National Academy for Youth Training and Qualification. All these academies
Yes, products.
and more were made by
Young
presidential
people.
initiatives, and all of them were to prepare our youth for the future and for assuming leadership and critical positions.
At the top of which is NTA, the National Training Academy, which is a direct product of the leadership program, which is an initiative by the presidency itself. So this is the first of its kind academy which trains young people on leadership, on social sciences, on financial, on economic, and even on security, national security sciences. Yes, this is the first time in our history to have such a school. We can call it a school which trains young people on important topics that controls our world today. Yes.
Before I go into that, because that was not the question, I was about to tell the question, but before we go into that, let me have the second report, and Youth and Sports Minister, empowering youth, top priority for the country. Let's watch.
Youth and Sports Minister Ashraf Subhi said that empowering youth is a top priority for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, as youth are the cornerstone and focus of Egypt's vision for Sustainable Development 2030. These came at the opening session of the Economic and Social Council ECOSOC Youth Forum in Washington. Subhi said that the Youth and Sports Ministry is implementing a number of initiatives and programs to ensure youth's full participation in the political, social, cultural, and economic fields. He added that the ministry also launched a campaign titled Development and Change to bridge the skills gap in the labor market. The forum provided a platform for young leaders from around the world to engage in a dialogue with the United Nations member states and to share ideas for advancing the 2030 agenda. The minister added that Egypt has about 4,260 youth centers to provide sports culture and special programs to enhance the political and social role of youth. Dr. Subhi has confirmed that Egypt sought to support young people and put them at the forefront of its priorities, and said that the Ministry of Youth and Sports had prepared the National Youth Strategy 2022-2027 in cooperation with the UNFPA in line with the United Nations Youth Strategy 2030. He asserted that by 2027, there will be 13 million young people, 46% of Egypt's youth in Egypt enrolled in continuing education, have received training, a decent job, or have the opportunity to become a leader or an entrepreneur and participate positively in their communities.
Welcome back, and back to you, Mr. Anwer. And when I spoke about the Nasser Academy, the National Academy for Training, and the PLP, and all these initiatives, and the support given by the country to youth and all these institutions to prepare them.
Yes.
Yes. But my question was, After all this, how do you view the role that should be played by the Egyptian youth, particularly at this stage, and how far was or were these programs of real benefit to those youth?
Yes, actually, that's a very good question and smart one. If you dealt with those platforms as clean platforms that are focusing on training young people on different aspects of life here in Egypt, you can see the graduates or the products of those initiatives or academies in every single aspect of life here in Egypt. For example, so you talked about the National Training Academy, Nasser Academy, other academy, by the way, the National Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development here in Egypt. That initiative, yes, it graduated more than 1,000 young people who are specialized in training other young people on how to deal with sustainable development goals. These are the direct products of a keen inspiration and a keen vision by the presidency itself to train young people on having the most recent news updates, so on. So if you dealt with those academy as platforms, yes, I think they are successful in their maybe primary goals. This is only the beginning of the products that got from those academies. Yes, I think we are on the right path because of that, yes.
So what should be the role of the youth after receiving all
Of
this?
course, the first thing is implementing what you have just learned from those academy into your personal life. If you started with yourself, for example, if you dealt with the Sustainable Development Goals, I myself got trained on saving consumption, decreasing consumption. I'm an employee in the government. So, and when I print a lot of papers, I learned how to decrease that in order to preserve the environment, to decrease costs, a lot of things. So this has a direct impact on my life, and it has a direct impact on how we deal with each other every single day. Yes, this is a product.
If I may ask you, okay, preparation for youth to be calibers
Yes.
in the most important or the arterial
Yes.
institutions in the country. This is from one side,
Yes.
but also economically.
Economically.
Because nowadays youth are not eager to join the governmental positions only, but they are also eager to play their own way or play business or be
Yes.
startups and entrepreneurs
Yes,
and all this.
Yes.
How did the government help them?
Yes.
First, through financially,
Yes.
and even teach them how to be.
You have to be entrepreneurs at least.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed.
Okay.
How did that happen?
Okay, it happened because the country itself changed its vision with dealing with young people. Now we have a young man in the past who is graduate from his faculty and he waits for the official employment, but nothing happens because there are no posts in the government. Okay, now the country understood that and understood the problem of waiting for such formal employment. So it taught young people and it changed the vision of those young people. You do not need to wait for that. You can open your own company, your own enterprise, your own even platform. You can sell products, you can get profits without having been into the formal employment. So we have out of 20 initiatives given by the country or given by the government, we have 5 of them dedicated to entrepreneurship and to opening new enterprises, including giving long-term loans to SMEs, small and medium enterprises. So I think this is a very important initiative by the country because it really understood the problem here. We need to change the vision itself and how people deal with their future and how young people can see the future.
High technology,
Yes.
digitization, or digital transformation, smart intelligence, artificial intelligence, all these are means to improve our future.
Yes.
And it was a must that our youth be trained on issues as such so they can cope with the requirements of their own country or
Yes.
what the country needs in their
Yes,
future.
of course.
How did we work on that from the education side and on the practical,
Yes.
technical side?
Let me talk first about the practical side of that. You can log into our digital governmental platform and get every single document that you want to extract in a single button. You can extract your birth certificate, a lot of documents with only one button electronically. And this is the practical side. Concerning the educational side, yes, of course, it happened. I think, as I remember, from the year of 2017, with Dr. Tariq Shawqi being the minister of the former president, minister of education, and the integration of using technological means and modern technological means in education and in learning, in the learning process, starting with the student and to the teacher himself. Yes, of course, we're now using platforms, we're now using tablets, websites, and a lot of technological means. And yes, this is reflected onto their daily lives.
Trust me, Mr. Anwer, it's not just about education or using those methods
Yes.
or tools in the education process, because have you, I mean, your children are still young, but
I do remember
you-
that. I was a
my
child.
children are a little bit older, so I see how they deal with the technology and how they deal with the laptops and
Yes.
the computers and the smartphones and using the technology. It's not about that, but it's how they can use such tools in a
Yes.
way that serve their own countries, and in a way that they can not using in playing
Yes,
for an instant
comparing.
PUBG or or PlayStation or
Yes,
whatsoever.
yes, it's a waste of time.
Indeed, how can we? How can they be helped or trained or educated in on all these very sophisticated tools in order to be able to serve their own countries or to cope with the requirements of the market, for instance?
Yes, of course. And I tell every single one of them that comparing my conditions, my days to your days, you are in a position that you can rule your own world. I couldn't have that. I couldn't have those resources to give researches, to write papers, to write research papers. I couldn't have that. But nowadays, children, starting from the primary education into the high school education, they have electronic sources. You can look into the world. You can look into new sciences. You can look into new information, and you can also avoid fake information using the tools that you have in hand. And instead of playing games, instead of wasting time on
Researches.
Yes, of
Working
course.
on
You
researches.
can do a research.
Innovation.
Yes, of course. And you'll be the first beneficiary of that. You're going to have a greater mind. You will have a greater vision that will benefit your future, of course.
That also required changing the curriculum, the curriculums, because
Yes.
not just one curriculum, but
Yes.
the curriculums of schools and high universities, which we have seen new, very technological
Yes.
universities that are being established.
Yes, we have more than 17 universities established here in Egypt, and most of them are mainly technological. So we focus on the sciences of the future. That gives you job opportunities. Now, job opportunities are only for those who have good languages and also good technological means and good technological skills. And yes, you need to change how you think about your future. You need to change how you will choose the subjects and the specialty that will shape your life after that.
All that can be nothing without the awareness battle, or the
Yes.
battle of awareness. If I may ask you here about about this very specific issue, because we're speaking, if you teach children to grow up and use all these sophisticated tools and all the and prepare them for the international market without the love for their own state,
Yes.
their awareness of the problems that do really exist,
Yes.
or the challenges that their country face, and how to be able to confront them and stand
of course.
behind the vision of the country,
Yes,
the
of
leadership,
course.
and of course behind the interest, the high interest of their
Yes,
country.
of course.
That all that would be.
Yes, and let me intervene here because the responsibility is common and shared between the state itself and the families. If I am a father of a child, I need to not control, I need to watch how he deals and how she deals with technology. Also, the state itself needs to meddle how media deals with young people, the type of content that is being shown or broadcasted to young people, the kind of using words, expressions, how people talk into from the media to the street itself. So we have, it's not a censorship, it's like of watching how my children, my own children, and how we deal with people on the street. Yes, about using words, expressions. And by the way, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi launched an initiative that calls for preserving the Egyptian identity. I think we need to keep our children.
Preserve this entity, our own entity.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes. You want your children to learn new languages. Yes, of course. This is important. This is essential for their future. However, you need to know your dignity, your identity, and your heritage in Egypt.
You need to learn. They have to understand. Yes,
Yeah,
it's good that you know many
important.
languages.
It's important.
But it's very good
Yes.
if you have it
To know your
beside
history.
having the Arabic.
Yes, of course, of course. I'm a translator, by the way, and I really understand the importance of learning Arabic besides English. And yes, English is important. It's an international language, but Arabic is your own first tongue. It's your own mother tongue, your mother language. Your work, your job, your employment, your education is in Arabic nowadays. Yes, English is important for employment, but this is your heritage, this is your history, this is your language, and this is your country. You are speaking Arabic every single day. You need to understand how we here in Egypt, our customs, our traditions, we need to get back to that, because we felt in the last decade that we a bit lost how we belong.
A bit lost? A bit?
A little
Anyway.
political, yeah, maybe a bit, only a bit.
A bit. If you say so. Finally here, if I may ask you, as a youth yourself, from your point of view, what are the challenges that youth really face those days? What do they aspire for? What is their vision towards the challenges that we are facing?
Okay, now
all these.
we have aspirations and we have challenges. Discussing challenges, the first and the most important, the most stunning challenges are facing fake news. You need to not control, you need to watch the content, the information that gets into your mind. This is the first challenge, the most important challenge, the upmost one. But talking about aspirations, yes, young people want two things. They need good education and good job opportunity. These are the most important.
Decent life.
Yes.
Decent
And
future.
this gets us to decent life. These are the main slogan of decent life. Okay, I think this is the goal, and this is the way we need to deal with the future. Knowing your needs and knowing your rights and your merits. Of course, and this, I think we are on the right path into achieving the goal of having a decent life here in Egypt. It takes time and it takes effort, a lot of effort, huge efforts, and it takes a long time. But we are changing decades of negligence, of, I don't want to say ignorance, but we have been in bad conditions and we are changing realities here on the ground. So I think it takes time and it takes patience. Please be patient because we have a lot of signals on the ground that we are moving forward. We're not getting backward. It will never happen.
So I guess if we can say the challenge, or in few words, the challenge would be how to reach a decent life.
Yes.
And the aspiration is
Yes.
that?
Getting into, yes, the main goal is having a decent life. Decent life means that you have a good job, a good quality of life, a good quality of life.
Future.
Summarized, a good future. I have my own my own job. I can marry.
The real challenge is how to reach that.
Yes,
point.
how to reach that. Are we on the right path? Yes, I think. But it takes time and effort. So you
and
want to have,
work.
yes, of course. And this is my advice to all young people. You want to have a good future, but you need to do that. You need to exert effort. You need to learn new skills.
Right, and I need to end because they're telling me.
Never mind. It's been a pleasure to have you today.
Mr. Mohamed,
Anwer,
International Relations and Conference Coordinator, member of the PLP and the Organizing Committee of the World Youth Forum. We thank you so much for being with us
Thanks
today.
so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all ours. And dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Next debate would be on Sunday. So until Sunday, it's good night.